I think it is really important to look back on what happened in Iraq with clear eyes, not with terribly idealistic or terribly pessimistic. And I think there are a lot of people who have been running around, some of our friends, saying that, oh, if only we had done this, the Iraqi military would be up to snuff. Or I guess if we had left 20,000 troops there, we probably had fewer problems in Iraq today. I don't doubt that. But also, Charles, we do have to remember that George Bush went out of office not just because of a bad economy and turning over the White House to a Democrat. We lost the House. We lost the Senate. We lost the White House to the most left-wing person ever to become president, because people were really dissatisfied with what we were getting out of this war in Iraq. And so for Republicans to go out there and say, yeah, see, Bush was right, I don't think that's right. And I think we have to see this really for what it is, the world as it is, our economic condition for what it is. Nobody's talking about how we're going to pay for this. We're either going to have to borrow the money again, or we're going to have to cut spending radically somewhere, or we're going to have to raise taxes. I mean, that's how conservatives are supposed to approach some of these issues, that we have to talk at least about how much money this ultimately costs. And so I'm very concerned about this whole going back to war in Iraq deal. Whether Obama's commander-in-chief, all his hesitancy, for sure that's a problem. But also, we became a weaker nation, and we lost the White House because of the mishandling of, I would say, the PR on the war and the actual strategy on the ground during Bush.
Look, I think if we want to do a historical exegesis here, the problem that we totally mismanaged the initial occupation of Iraq, 3 to 4 years. We were lost in the wilderness. This is historically very true for Americans. The first few years of the Second World War were a disaster. The first 3 years of the Civil War were a disaster. Then Lincoln found his general and his strategy, and he won. It took Bush, tragically, 3.5 years to find his general and strategy, and they won. Here's the important point. We can argue from here to kingdom come about the original Iraq War, and it was a terribly high price that we paid. Was it worth it? We can debate that forever. What I think is not debatable is that when the war was turned over to Barack Obama, the war was won. And because he wasn't able, it wasn't so much the number of troops on the ground, it was retaining American influence in Iraq. The day that we left, the day after we left, Maliki ordered the arrest of his Sunni prime minister.
Right, but this is the guy we believed in, Charles. This just shows you this nation building doesn't work.